Hi everyone, it's Rachel with Rachel Super Cute Creations, and I apologize if you were on just a few minutes ago. We were having some technical difficulty, and I think the audio focus is fixed now. YouTube has been acting up a little bit today, so I'm just going to go ahead and start over real quick while everybody comes in. So this first one is the first mixed media canvas that I did. And I did some different techniques on the back here with some acrylic paint. You can see that the bird belly is from 1800s, late 1800s music page. We have book page for the back. And then along here is a collage piece of paper. It actually came right from this paper. You can see here where I cut it out. And then I also created the leaves from this gorgeous paper. And so hopefully you can see this beautiful mixed media piece. Then from there, I went ahead and did this little adorable gnome. And his gnome beard is from some music page. And then his hat is also from this piece. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And for those of you who are new to my channel, please subscribe. If you're in, give me a thumbs up. Let me know who's here. What we're going to do today is we're going to create a church. And I'm going to do it on this 5x8, I'm sorry, 5x7 board, just because it's easy for me to get underneath the camera for you and play with. And the tools you're going to need are some vintage book pages. Hi, Cindy. Welcome back. I hope this is better. Are you able to see things a little bit better? I think it's going to stop. It's stopped now acting funny. Hi, Monkey. And so what you want to do, though, as I was saying in the last one, you cannot just use children's glue. Now, you can use Mod Podge, but here's what happens with Mod Podge. Even the mat, I don't know if you can see it in the light. Let me adjust my light just a little bit. It creates a little, okay, there we go. It creates a bit of a shine, and that's hard to paint on. You can paint on it, but it's difficult. And so I don't like that plasticky. In fact, we'll try it today. We'll see what happens with it. But I want to show you how to keep sort of that real matte finish. If you're going to use acrylic paints on it like I'm going to, you want to use a heavier base. So I'm just using a piece of 25-pound cardstock. And for this project, you really just need scrap pieces. And so I'm going to go ahead and just start building. Now, you can use colors. So as you can see on this one, I used a lot of colors. I don't want to use colors on this one because this one I want to use for the church base. And I really think that it needs to be more of a neutral color because I want to kind of keep that color. Now, notice the back of this vintage book, or I'm sorry, there's not book pages, vintage music page, excuse me, is blue. So I could go either way with that, and I could add some blue in if I wanted to. Oops, sorry, I'm out of frame here. But you can see here, I used security envelopes, and I used images, and I used stamps. So use whatever you want, whatever you have. Just because this project, I'm being very specific about what I want it to look like, I'm keeping with the creams of my vintage papers. But, you know, you can be as creative as you want. And you can use little tiny pieces, you can use big pieces, and so on. So I'm going to be teaching, actually, I'm getting ready to do a couple of things. I'm going to be teaching a local mixed media canvas in my home studio. And I'm also working on an online class. So for all of you that have been following my Etsy stores and all of that stuff, and following me on my channel, and you're interested in doing a class, what I will have is a recorded piece that you'll be able to kind of do however you want on your own time, and that'll be fun for those of you who have purchased my other kits. So that's coming up. So you just kind of go every which way, and use a variety of vintage papers. I mean, can you see the difference in color? When you do that, it really adds some additional dimension to your project rather than just using one color book page. Now, if all you have is one color book page, that's fine. But the vintage book pages just really, really make your project pop. Now, if you don't have a lot, if you don't want to do this collage method and you just want to do like I did with the bird and just have music page for your house or for your church, that's fine too. But we're going to kind of just shake it up a little bit. And see, I also have this music page, which I'm going to use as well because it's a different color. For those of you that follow my channel, you know I use a lot of music pages. So just going to kind of, all right. And let's see here. I need to build up here. And I'm really making sure this is flat. I don't want bumps underneath it. Another way, you can use your bone folder if you don't have a bone folder. I have one of these tools. So this is a smoother. But if you don't have that, just use an old gift card and use that to kind of smooth down for those of you who are new to this mixed media stuff. So hi, Barbara. Thanks for coming back. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Appreciate you hanging in there and coming back. And I apologize, you guys, for coming on late for my craft with me's. I usually try to do it between 4 and 6. I am going to be doing an announcement probably Monday. Well, that would be tomorrow, wouldn't it? I have some new things that are going to be happening on my channel. And for those of you who are not part of my Facebook, I have a Super Cute Creations Facebook page now. It's kind of new. And so it's a place where I host a lot of my events, my painting events, and some of the other things that I'm doing. But I'm going to be also hosting, this is tea-dyed paper. I'm also going to be hosting some online events on there for all of you. And for those of you who decide to use my mixed media tutorial for inspiration, I would love to see you post what you've made because I'm excited to see that too. So, all right, what do we got going on here? I'm going to pull some different. All right, let's put one more piece of, and I think, I'll put this music this way. I think I'm pretty close. Now, normally I would just go ahead and do this whole page of collage, and I would just keep the whole page. But for sake of time, because it is later than usual, just want to see. Oh yeah, I have plenty of collage to work with. Okay, so we're going to take this. I'm going to smooth this out, and I'm going to set this to the side. And we're going to let it dry. And while it's drying, we're going to start working on. But before I do that, I just really don't know. I just feel like this has to go here. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Sometimes my artistic self can't let things go. So I apologize. I need to just put that piece there. Okay. Because I wanted those numbers. I don't know why. All right. So I'm going to set that to the side to dry. And while that's drying, we're going to prepare our canvas. Okay. So let me just get these pieces out of the way. All right. So the next thing you want to do is just put something down to cover your surface. And I'm just going to use this piece of paper. And the next thing I did, and this is not something you have to do, but I kind of like to know where my piece is going to be. And so what I do is I just take and I just kind of indent the corners. So I don't know if you can see those dots. And then I just take my pencil and kind of put those little dots on there. Once again, don't have to do that because I'm going to come in, but I don't necessarily have to paint all in here if I don't want to, because it's going to be covered up by the collage. Now, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to do that. That's just what I do. You don't need a lot of paint. And I really, to be honest with you, was not sure what colors I was going to use. So I kind of have a variety of colors because I have a couple of ideas. Like this is going to all be stained glass pieces right here. Or I'm sorry, this one, and this one are going to be stained glass. So that's why I have all those colors, and I want to kind of show you how to do that really easily. And I just have a couple of different blues. So, all right. I'm going to give myself some room here. Okay. So all I have here is a paint plate. I have some brushes. I'm a messy painter, so my hands are going to be filthy by the time we're done. So I'm going to apologize ahead of time. All right. Let's see here. And my brushes are wet because I left them in water today while I was working on another project. All right. So the first thing I want to do Oh, I'm so sorry, Barbara. Leave me a message on Messenger, and I would love to find out what's going on, and I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to start with white first, and I am just going over my whole canvas on the outside of where my church is going to be with the white. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to be able to blend. Okay, so real simple, just went over all of that with white. All right, now I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab just a little bit of my color. Now, this blue is really, really dark, but that's okay. I'm just coming in and I'm going to do an X. Let me bring this up to the camera so you can see here. All right, watch. So I'm just kind of going like this, like an X. Okay. So I'm just doing that fast. I'm not worrying about what it looks like right now. And I'm just kind of bringing in the color. Okay, and so you get something that looks like this. So I just built my first base. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to bring some of this blue, which is more of a cobalt blue. And I'm just going to bring that on top. This one has, the navy has kind of the purple tinge to it. Okay, and I'm just doing the same thing. Oops, there I go, bringing the wrong color in. Notice I didn't clean my brush. I call this the dirty brush method. You don't need to wipe your brush each time. Okay, so I'm bringing that in, just really giving it some texture. Okay. All right. So it kind of looks like a little bit of a stormy day. I'm going to leave that brush for a minute, and I want to come down here because right here, and I don't know if you can see this. I made this little kind of squiggly pencil line. I want to create a little pathway. And so I'm just taking some black, and remember there was white here. I just kind of want a path up to my church. And we're going to kind of just let that dry right there. Now, I am going to go in and rinse my brush off. And we're going to let that dry. Now, I'm going to come back and work with my sky a little bit. I'm going to pull just pure white in right now. And I'm going in and I'm just kind of lightening up towards the top. Okay. Now, be careful about how much you do this, because the more, let me show you right here. The more I work this, let me come close. The more I work this, the more it becomes light blue, or it becomes muddy. Now, if you like that blended look, that's fine. And I like blended looks too. But in this case, I want more of a textured look. Okay. Now, you can do whatever you want. If you don't like this textured look, do something totally different. And what I'm doing is I'm leaving it darker towards my church. Come back in here and just really kind of build this. Apologize for that. All right, is everybody still with me? It's awful quiet in here. I'm either boring you to death or you guys are just, I don't know. That's the one hard thing about lives. But I'm sure glad you joined me. And if you're not joining me live, I really hope that you're going to be able to catch me in the replay and this will be helpful. Okay, so there's where we are. I'm going to kind of just leave this. I'm kind of wiping off my blue onto my paper towel. And I'm going to pull a little bit of green now. Because I kind of want some green in here. And we'll come back and work with this a little bit more, but I just kind of want to get this in here before we get our church in, just to kind of have some foreground. And all I'm doing is stippling. So I'm taking my brush and I'm just going up and down, okay? And creating this stippling motion. I'm not a professional artist. All right, so we have our green in. So here's where we are. Then I'm going to take my black, just a little bit of my black, and I'm going to offload it onto here, and I'm just going to come in and just give it a little bit of texture. Do you see the difference? From this side to this side. We're just going to add that in there. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead at this point and rinse my brush, because I don't want that green in there. All right. Now it's kind of drying. So I'm just taking my dry brush and I'm just kind of smoothing this a little bit, not a lot, but I'm kind of blending that in just a little bit. And I'm blending out so it looks like the sun is kind of going up, or the sky is kind of going up to the heavens. You can do this however you want, but I still have a lot of texture. See that? All right. Now I'm going to pull a little bit of silver just because I love shimmer. And I'm just going to bring a little bit, I'm just taking it and I'm just bringing a little bit of sparkle out of here. Offloading it. And I'm just really bringing some sparkle into my sky. Not a lot, because I don't want it real stripy, streaky, whatever. Stripy. Oh my goodness, you guys, I need to go to bed. Just coming in here and just really. All right. So I don't know if you can see that, but see, I've just put a little bit of silver in there just to give it a bit of sparkle. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set our canvas to the side. We're going to let that baby dry. And while we do that, we're going to prepare our church. So I'm going to clean my fingers here, or I'll have paint everywhere. All right. So the next thing I want to do is prepare my church. And let's see here, how do I want to do this? I'm going to just cut this out, I guess. So I'm just cutting out my sketch. And it's not perfect because I sketched it and I didn't need it to be perfect. It's supposed to be kind of whimsical. And it's just a guide. All right, so there's my church. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide, where do I want this to be? And what kind of collage do I want? And I'm really thinking this. I kind of want a little bit of everything. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to trace around the outer edge, whoops, of my template. Okay, so we'll set that to the side. And now I'm going to take my Fiskars scissors and I'm just going to cut out the shape. Sorry, I'm out of frame. All right. Okay, so I've cut out my church. Now, I'm going to kind of measure where this is going to be. And notice I didn't come far enough in, which I don't know why I didn't. I just thought about that. I didn't come far enough in. I need to kind of, oh my goodness, Rachel. As I was cutting that, I was just thinking, I don't think I came far enough in. So I certainly could paint this whole thing. There's no reason why. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. I don't know what I was thinking. Actually, I do. I was thinking my gnome, I didn't have to when I did my gnome, I didn't have to go in that far and okay. There we go. That's better. Okay. So I kind of set this to the side and I'm adding just a little bit of water because this canvas is really soaking up the paint. I bought these canvases from a different distributor and I'm thinking they almost feel like they haven't been pre-gessoed, which is a little irritating. Because when it dries, it's bringing sort of that white chalky color towards the front. There we go. There we go. Okay. Bring my silver back up here. And get that little bit of sparkle in here. Okay, so the next technique I want to show you is that you can also then do some stenciling. And so the thing about mixed media, is it's about how much do you layer? How much do you add on? What are the different pieces and elements? So I'm going to use some bubble wrap to kind of be my stencil. And this is just, as you can see, an Amazon Prime page. And I'm going to use this to paint on some light blue. Not a lot of light blue, but a little bit of light blue and some white. And I'm just painting that on. And I'm just coming in here and I'm using this bubble wrap like a stamp. And now we have even more texture to the back of our painting. All right. Now it's time to really start getting our church set. So I'm thinking that looks like a pretty good spot for our church. And at this point, I'm going to use some Mod Podge, excuse me, to secure this. So I'm just going to grab this flat brush right here. And I put a pretty healthy amount of Mod Podge. Oh my goodness, I can't say it today. On here. Because I do not want this to come up. So you can see I'm putting just a nice healthy amount on here. Any questions so far about anything that I've done in the process or how to do this? Go go ahead and just ask over on the right-hand side. And so now what I'm doing is I'm just putting this down, being careful not to pull up the paint because my background's still just a little bit damp. So I will typically just take my paintbrush, the back of it, and just kind of go around the edges because the edges are going to want to curl up a little bit. So you have to kind of play with them and get them down. And if you have a tool, you know, if I wasn't on camera, I would probably take this over to my and use my blow dryer to dry it. I just didn't want you guys to have to listen to that. And just make sure it's down well. You can see here it's squeezing out. Look at it, you can see it's still wet. So you want to kind of be careful with it. And you can see I got a little bit of blue along here, but that's okay. All right, so this is something I want to show you. Notice this right here. See how this is coming up? This is coming up. Oops, sorry. You want to make sure that everything is definitely adhered well, especially before you start putting the acrylic on. All right, so there we go. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to let this kind of set. And I want to create my door and my 2 side windows. I want those to be in this round window. I'm really thinking I want those to kind of stick up, and I want them to be out of a different paper. So what I'm going to do is we're going to grab, thinking. All right. So this is a way, if you, normally I would use transfer paper, but I don't want to get up again. So I'm just using some graphite, some pencil on the back of here. And I'll show you, this will end up being like a transfer paper. Okay. So I'm going to take this and I am going to trace this. And see, it creates a line for me to cut, just like if I was using transfer paper. Now, this is a step you don't have to do. This is an additional step. You do not have to do this step. I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 the same. And these are going to be my 2 stained glass windows. And I'm not sure how this is going to work because this is some really, really old music paper. And I'm not sure how well it's going to hold the paint. So there's my 2 side windows that we created. I'm going to create a door, and that I definitely want music. So I'm going to line it up because I want to see those music notes in that door. So there's my door. And then we need a round circle at the top. And I think I'm just going to use, we'll just use this plain part. Because that's going to be a little piece of stained glass as well. And what this does is, because I'm adding another layer on top, it just gives it a little bit of depth. So, all right. And I think we're done with the book pages. We're done with those for right now. So, you're gonna have to excuse me. I do need to take a drink. My throat is really sore. I apologize for my sort of deep voice I have today. I don't know what's going on. I'm hoping I'm not getting sick. All right. So I'm going to take this Mod Podge again. I'm going to put it on the reverse side, except I'm not going to put it as thick on here because, oh, nope, I don't want to do that yet. Let those dry. Sorry. We got to whitewash this church before we do anything else, because I want it to look like an old church. So I'm going to grab some water, not a lot, just a little tiny bit. We're going to thin out. We're going to thin out our paint. Oops, sorry. To thin that paint out. It's almost dripping. And we are going to just whitewash this church. And when you do this, you have to decide if you want the church to go. Are you going to make lines that go this way on the church or up and down? And for me, we're going to make lines that go this way. So I want my paint strokes to also go this way. So I'm just lightly whitewashing this. And then I'm going to pull a little bit of the darker white, offloading it some. And we're just going to make it a little whiter. So I don't know if you can see that. It's probably hard to see with my camera. And I'd like around my edges to be a little whiter. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to do solid white. And I'm just going to outline this church. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just going around the edges. We're going to come in with some black in a little bit to kind of define where the steeple is and all that fun stuff. All right. All right. So there we go. We kind of have our church outlined. All right, so now I have to kind of think about where do I want these different pieces and what do I want them to look like? So I kind of have an idea of something. And we're going to just kind of take our little picture here. And I am going to water down my black just a smidge. And we're going to come in here and I'm going to start drawing my lines. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to draw these lines on here. So this looks kind of like a roof. And if you get off a little bit, it's fine if you get it on the canvas a little bit. It's not going to hurt anything. So there's our first piece. And then I have to kind of decide, where do I want that top part? So there's my little roof there. Okay. And now I want to kind of just put in some boards. So I'm just taking this and just putting in the look of kind of like shiplap. Very lightly. Giving it just a little bit of dimension. And then at the top, I definitely want to put those lines in as well, because this is what's really going to start making it look like an old country church. All right. So then I come in with some of my pure white, and I'm really going to kind of darken this part in because I want it to kind of look like a trim on the church. Then I'm going to come in and I'm just going to give it some little highlights. Give that shiplap a little bit of highlighting. Still want to see that book page. I want to give it a little highlight. Then I can go back over with my black, put those lines in where I need to. And this is the part where you just have to be a little bit patient. You're going to have to come back in and darken some areas and lighten some areas. Coming in and I'm outlining my church in black. And I'm using a very light hand. A lot of painters, when I'm teaching this, they push too hard on the brush and they get a fat line. Just be very light with your hand. And they don't have to be straight at all. Okay. So let's work on our windows and our door. So this is going to be our door. So I think at this point we are ready to go ahead and get this glued down. And I want, this door is going to be red just because I want something to pop out here. So I'm putting my door in. And now I want to put in my little stained glass window. Oops, my stained glass, that was white paint. I want Mod Podge. Put in my stained glass windows on each side here. The other one. And it's really starting to come together. Hopefully you can start to see it come together. And let's go ahead and let's put our little circle up here too. Our little steeple stained glass window. There we go. So can you see the mixed media piece starting to come together? All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm watering down this red paint. And I'm just going to red wash this door. But I really want to keep that music behind there, so I don't want it to be dark. Just kind of red washing that door. And then I can come in and I can just kind of bring some texture to it if I want. And there's our door. Beautiful. Okay. So now let's start working on our stained glass windows. These are going to be fun. I'm going to use a little bit of yellow paint to start. And all I'm doing is putting dots on the window. And we're going to come in and we'll just blend. And I'm going to use the yellow on both sides. Okay. Then we'll come in with the red. And I'm just doing the same thing. I'm just building. By putting little dots. And you can put whatever colors you want. I'm kind of going to stick with just the primary colors because I think that'll really pop out on this piece. And now I want to come in and I want to put some blues in here. And I really just want to start filling in those spots. And we'll add some whites. We'll add a little bit of the silvers. And any spot that we need to go back and touch up, we will do. What do you think so far, you guys? Oop, it's kind of a big dot. Hoping you're liking this video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. There's quite a few of us on here, but everybody is so quiet tonight. Are there any questions so far about anything that we've done? I'm going to come in and add some silver. Just because I want to. Silver's probably not in a stained glass window, but I love this metallic. Hi, Connie. Oh, I'm glad you're having fun watching. Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, am I boring you guys to death because everybody's so quiet? It feels like I'm videotaping and just uploading a video. All right, so I'm just adding. So let me kind of show you what's going on here. All right, now I want to come in with some white. And that kind of gives it that look from the sun, kind of glistening on there. That's fine, Barbara. I just never know if I'm boring you guys to death or. All right. So what I'm doing now is kind of coming in. These dots are a little smaller than I think I like. So I'm just coming in and just making them a little bit bigger. And this is where the blending will start to come in a little bit. And that's okay. That's kind of what I want. And guys, if we mess up, it's not a big deal. We just paint over it. I tell that to my people in my classes all the time is, you know what? There's no mistakes in painting. You just let it dry and we just paint over it. It's not a big deal at all. And we're just blending away, just creating this beautiful little church. All right, what do you guys think? Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to outline my window. This black paint is starting to get a little bit thick because it's been sitting here and it's the closest paint to my light, and so having to thin it up a little bit. And we're going to go around our door, give it a nice outline. And I'm really enjoying how this is coming together. All right, let's thin this out just a little bit more. Oh my goodness, you guys, you didn't remind me to do this one up here. That's okay. We'll go back. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the quiet time. That's why I like to do these little projects because they just, for me, are relaxing. And Sherry, you're loving this? I'm loving it too. Look at this. So cute. I have an idea. I think we might do a green spray over the top of that. I don't know. Still thinking. Still thinking. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tip this upside down because I don't want to accidentally mess any of that up. And I'm going to come up here and we're going to do the same steps. I just want to get some of this paint on here. I come in and we're going to just get that stained glass going. And I'm loving how these colors are just kind of coming together. Now, I have a special surprise because we're going to use some 24 karat gold paint on this because I can't not use 24 karat gold paint. If you guys have not played around with 24 karat gold paint, oh my gosh, you have to. The stuff is amazing. All right, we're going to grab some silver and get some of that silver in there because we want some silver sparkle. To break some of that up. Okay. I'm going to come in with my black. And we're at about 56 minutes. So this project doesn't take a long time. It's something you can do. Probably starting out, you could probably do it in an hour and a half. For those of you who are interested, I am going to be selling some mixed media kits in my shop. And I will have the pattern for this church. I'll do the pattern for the gnome because I've already had some people ask me about that. And I can also do the pattern for the bird. The kit will come with the canvas and all the stuff. Haven't figured out whether I'm going to do the paint or just let you guys get the paint. But then it will have a tutorial, a special link tutorial for you to be able to do this at home and just kind of paint along with me. That way, if you forget any steps or anything, kind of feeling like that door needs to look like that. All right, what are you guys thinking so far? I'm loving this. I'm kind of wanting this to be a little bit thicker. All right, so while that's drying, I'm going to come up here and do something. I'm not sure what yet, but I want to get out this 24 karat gold because that's what is going to make this, this beautiful cross at the top. Oh, come on. All right, so Deco Art makes Americana Decor Metallics. This is 24 karat gold paint. And if you want something relaxing to look at least for me, look at the beauty of this paint. Is that not gorgeous? Oh, I love it. So, this paint is just amazing. And when it dries, it looks like gold because it has the 24 karat gold leafing in it. So what could be better for our cross than 24 karat gold? Look at that. And you could come in here and add a little bit of gold in your window just to kind of bring a little bit of sparkle in there. Oh, I'm really loving that, you guys. I wish you could see it up close. It really adds dimension. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but it's gorgeous. Okay. Sherry, what are you going to watch for? This paint? This paint's amazing. Or are you going to watch for the kits? All right. So I'm still feeling like I need to do something a little bit more. I think I'm going to do sort of a green swag over this part right here. So I'm going to grab my green and I'm just going to, hopefully this doesn't mess it up. Just going to kind of make a swag that goes over this. I want it to kind of go like this. Some water in there. Get some water in there and get it flowing here. Just gives it a little bit of decoration up here at the top. What do you think? I'm going to come in, I'm going to add a little bit of black to my green to darken it up a little bit. I'm going to come back and just highlight this a little bit. Give it a little bit of texture. And then the cool thing is, a lot of times I'll go back in when this is dry with a black Sharpie. I'm going to add some white because I want to highlight some of these leaves. It's going to kind of coming back in and just hitting it with some highlights. And then we'll come back in with that nice green one more time. What do you think? You like that greenery over it? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it over. Oh, wait. Nope, we got to go in. We got to do some. You guys, I almost forgot. I got to do some work down here. All right, we have to do some work here on our path. So I'm just going to come in. We're going to just come in and I'm just blending a little bit so it looks like cement. All right, now I got to also come in here and we want to just really get our greenery looking good. So I'm going to go back over and stipple a little bit. And if I get a little bit of green up here on the church, that's fine because, as you know, grass grows up a little bit. So it's okay to get a little bit of greenery up here. Bringing my black in and oops. All right, and I'm going to grab some white and some green. Oh, and that looks like snow, which was not my intention. So not a problem. We're just going to grab some more green. We're going to come right over top of it. And I know it's probably really hard to see on the camera, but it is really making some nice texture. And we'll come back in our final black. And then I'm thinking, I don't know. Let's see how this will work. I've got another idea. See, I could keep going forever, you guys. We could be here all night. Whoops, it's too wet. I'm not liking those flowers. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm just using a baby wipe, taking them off. Then I'm going to come back. Sometimes things sound like a good idea, but I just don't like how it's blending with the colors that I have. So that's fine. I'll just come in and do some foliage here again. And then I have, oops. I have some of this bronze that I think would be really pretty in here. And I know bronze typically is not in grass, but I'm a huge sparkle girl. Look at that bronze in there. All right, so now, lastly, I'm gonna come in here. Just making some little squiggles. Let's see if this is dry yet. It's pretty dry. Looking for my thin tip black pen. And I want to show you. Flip this upside down here. It's still a little wet. So what I'm doing is sticking this on my Memento because it's still wet. My Memento's ink pad, and I'm kind of using it like a paintbrush, which I know is a non-conventional way of using it, but it works for me. especially when I do not have the patience to wait. I think I may have gotten paint on this pen last night, or it's starting to run out because I'm struggling with getting it to work. There we go. And I'm just roughly creating some leaves. Which just gives it some more texture. All right, what do you guys think? The other thing I'd like to do, just to be a little bit whimsical, is, and I don't know why I do this, this is kind of my signature when I like to take and add 3 little dots, different places. I don't know why. The other thing is you can kind of do some little squigglies to give it some dimension. You can take your black and do the same thing. Sometimes I'll just kind of make some random lines. And there we go. I think we're done. Just go ahead and put my signature on here. And we're finished. What do you guys think? Now, when this completely dries, I will take Mod Podge and I will put it over the whole thing. Just adjust this lighting just a smidge. Ah, there we go. So I think it's really cute. I think it turned out very nice. I hope you like it. I hope you try this. I will put my Facebook group in the chat right now. I'll also put it in the description for those of you who are not part of my Facebook group. Please go over and follow my page if you like my work. You're going to get to see a lot of things. I am going to be doing some sorry guys, I'm just trying to read these things. I am going to start doing some lives on Facebook each week. There will be a new schedule for my YouTube channel as well. So there's my Facebook. So please follow me, say hello. And then I'll also put my Etsy store in there. There's going to be all kinds of new things that are going to be going in my Etsy store in the next week. So hang tight and check those out. I will be doing a video kind of showing all the new stuff. I'm going to start doing more live sales, but they're going to be scheduled live sales. So you guys will know well in advance when they're going to be, because I know there's so many people out there doing them now. So I wanted to make sure that you guys knew when the live sales were going to be, and you would have an opportunity to kind of plan, because I know that's always a struggle for many of us. So I hope everybody has a great day. I hope you enjoyed this. Please, 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 if you're on Facebook, head over to my Facebook and check it out. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great week.